question is from Ethan, who is wanting to add some supplements into his training because he's getting back into jiu-jitsu, I assume from after the quarantine, and he's wanting to add some supplements into the mix, but he wants to know if there's any ideas that I have or any sort of methods that I have on sort of testing out whether or not it's actually working, you know, because a lot of times supplements make a lot of claims, but you don't necessarily have a way to test them. Is it actually working? Is it actually doing what it says it's going to do? And so he sent me a message asking about that, and he mentioned how in one of my podcasts I was talking about how I got on and off of CBD products and eventually settled on Charlotte's Web and basically was testing it out. And again, just looking for guidance on testing new supplements out to benefit his training. So Ethan, thanks for the question, brother. And yeah, man, so I'll share a couple ideas with you, but let's start with the CBD one because that was the one that you mentioned from the podcast. I got into CBD products because at first, I'm not gonna lie, man, I thought it was snake oil because CBD, like companies and products, just like use all these grand claims, right? It's gonna do this. It, you know, it sounds like it's the greatest thing under the sun. And so for me, like instantly I was like, too good to be true, right? I'm not listening to this stuff. One day I was on the mats and I got done training and I was having this reoccurring problem in this muscle right up in here. And it was just bugging me, right? I was like, oh God, it's so painful. And when I was warm, you know, from rolling, it was okay. But when I was cold, man, it was terrible. I'd be hunched around like this and walking around like all slumped. Well, after the training was over, my buddy Tony rubbed some of the CBD balm on my back. And I remember I didn't think much of it. But a couple hours later, I was sitting at home, writing on my desk, and I had good posture. My shoulders are back. I'm in a good position writing. And my girlfriend, she's walking past me. And she goes, hey, is your back hurting? You're sitting up straight. And I started to kind of do this. And I'm like, you know what? I feel okay. Huh, that's interesting. So then I was like, I'm going to have to try some of this CBD stuff out. So I went to the store. There was a place right up the street, got some CBD products, balms and tinctures, and started trying those out. And I noticed a positive impact. I noticed that a lot of my aches and pains were going away. I noticed that muscle ache was gone. I noticed that I was sleeping a lot better. That's honestly the biggest thing I get from CBD is damn sleep. And I was like, this feels amazing, right? So I was like, good. And then I kind of was like curious because I'm one of these guys where I have like, you know, when they do the test and they say like the placebo, the group, I would be the guy in the placebo group going, it worked. It did great. Like I'm that guy because of my mind. I'll will something to be. And my girlfriend, she makes jokes about it all the time. So I had to like, all right, I got to get off this stuff for a little while and see if I notice a difference. When I got off of it, took, you know, a couple weeks or whatever, but all of a sudden, aches and pains that were nagging coming back. My sleep quality's going down. I just noticed all these negative things coming back that were gone. So then I was like, well, let's get back on CBD. Well, I started getting back on CBD and the good stuff started coming back. So I'm like, I'm sold. I'm going to be on it. Now, I tried different companies, you know, and I noticed that a lot of times the supplements were inconsistent because some of them, like I wouldn't feel anything at all. Some of them I would take and I would feel almost like high. And then I got on Charlotte's Web because they were third-party tested and they've been around for a long time. So I was like, let me try their stuff out. And it's been consistent. So I like them. And that's why we brought them on as a sponsor for the podcast because I'm like, look, their stuff's good, right? And so I've been with them for a couple of years. Been using their stuff and I think it's good. And so that testing on and off is a great idea. And you know, for workouts a lot of times, because that's mainly what you're getting into the supplements with is working out, like BCAAs and all this stuff. What I would encourage you to do is keep a log of what you're taking and what you're eating before the workouts. Because like, so I have a workout journal on my phone and I log every single one of my workouts here. And you know, I've got just hundreds of workouts in there. And what I do is, and these used to be handwritten, and what I do is I'll say, here's what I ate. Here's my workout, whether it's jiu-jitsu or whatever, and then how did I feel after the workout, you know, and that kind of thing. And the reason why I do this is because I can start to notice trends, right? Like, well, if I eat this particular food, I don't train as well, or if I do this before training, I don't feel as good. Like, for instance, back in the day, I stopped taking pre-workouts altogether because I noticed every time I took a pre-workout, this is back in like 2008, every time I'd take a pre-workout, my training in jiu-jitsu went down the tubes because it's just too much caffeine. My heart's beating too much. I'm just too pumped up. So I got that stuff, took it off. No more pre-workout. And then I noticed that for my workouts, I eat 2 different carb sources. And I didn't know that there was science behind this, but there is. Basically, if you eat multiple carb sources, so let's say if you're gonna eat 100 carbs, eat them 50 from maybe a piece of fruit, 50 from some rice or something like that, whatever you want, but eat them from different sources so that your body can absorb them faster. I didn't know this. You can add just a smidgen of caffeine, not much, but a little smidgen of caffeine, and it even speeds up the uptake even more, right? So a lot of times, like I started noticing that if I drank a little bit of coffee after training with some carbs, I felt better. And I noticed that when I was eating 2 different carb sources before workouts, I felt even better. And so again, I'm tracking this stuff, and whenever I found something that was working, that's what I would stick to, right? And so again, you can test this stuff out. And to be honest with you, man, like protein and creatine and all that stuff's fine. Creatine, I take 5 grams of creatine a day, you know, and I take a little bit of protein from time to time. I don't take much BCAAs just because there's some information on it, but I feel like you know, a lot of it is like you have to take 20 or 40 grams of BCAAs before you get a positive effect on it. So not going to do that. But I think that a lot of times, if you get your diet in check, if you do your diet right, man, a lot of that is going to take away a lot of the need for supplements, because you're going to get the protein and the carbs and everything else that you need, and it'll really do a good job of making your training even better. And so I would encourage you with that. Test out your supplements that you want and keep a journal of your workouts. Now, the last thing I'll mention, just in this real quick, if it's a supplement like a vitamin. So for instance, wintertime, not a lot of sun, I'm not out inside very often, I take a vitamin D supplement. So what I do is I actually get my blood work drawn you know, at the beginning of the year, and then I sort of get my blood work drawn later on after the supplement's been in my system for a little bit to see if it actually raised my vitamin D levels up to a good level that where I want them, right? And so again, some supplements are in that case, you may not notice this big jolt in your system. It might be like vitamins, there's going to be in your bloodstream doing what they're supposed to do, but it's something where you can get your blood work drawn as well. So those are the tips I would have. Go on and off of the supplement, see the difference, see how you feel. Keep a workout journal if you're adding the supplements in for workout purposes. Keep a track of how it's feeling. And then the last one is, man, simply if you want to, you can get your blood work drawn. It's not a bad idea. I mean, even for people that are, you know, as you're getting up into your 30s and stuff, get it drawn once a year, because you can tell a lot about your body and the health of your body from the blood. It's like a little snapshot. So you can get that done. Talk to your doctor about that. So anyway, guys, that's the information today. That's the ideas to chew on for you. And if you guys have any questions, throw them down below. I'll talk to you guys next time.